Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along. I'm out here in the wilds of Suffolk again, out in the scrub, in the boonies, if you like, of the Suffolk countryside. Going for a stroll as I do every morning, and just kicking around some ideas about the state of the world at the moment. So, if it's your first time here, welcome along. This is what it's all about. Me having a bit of a walk and a talk and talking about the current events that are happening in the world at the moment. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Thank you very much for being here. I am overwhelmed by the amount of subscribers that are joining me for these walks and talks. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for sharing and liking and commenting. I can't thank you enough. It's really awesome to have everybody along. So welcome. So today I want to talk about the Chicken Little moment that we're living in. Chicken Little, if you don't know the story of Chicken Little, I'm kind of surprised, but Chicken Little, the sky is falling, where the little chicken that went around and told everyone the sky is falling, and or the boy who cried wolf kind of thing. It's the same kind of story. So basically, telling a story like the sky is falling, the wolf is coming. It's the same thing, but the sky is falling is kind of fitting at the moment with the Chinese rocket that's supposed to be hurtling towards Earth, and it could crash down anywhere. I mean, we can track an asteroid, we can track every satellite in space, but we can't track where a rocket's going to fall from space and where it's going to land. It's amazing. So we're living in a constant Chicken Little moment, with what's been happening for the last year after 2 weeks to flatten the curve. We're living in this constant Chicken Little moment. Constant. Like every election cycle in the US is another Chicken Little moment, Before it was Zika, remember Zika? We had bird flu years ago now. We had SARS, the original SARS. We've had this latest increment of the bad flu. But it's a constant cycle of the sky is falling. And what happens when we have these sky is falling moments? Well, we have a centralization of power. The last one was the biggest centralization of power and the biggest power grab I've ever seen in my nearly 50 years on this planet, where the entire world was governed by bureaucracy. And the bureaucrats said, well, this is what we have to do. This is what we have to do. And everybody complied. Went, oh, okay. Because they were fearful. Now, the danger that I see with what's been going on, and I know I get criticised a lot for my viewpoints, and that's fine. I can handle it. The danger that I see is that we get to a situation where we're constantly told the sky is falling, and people are fearful until they get to a point where they're like, oh, you've said it so many times now, it doesn't mean anything anymore. So are we being desensitized? Perhaps. Are we being lulled into a false sense of security? Perhaps, Or is it just we're constantly bombarded by these fear messages of things that are going to kill us all? It could be an asteroid, it could be, the rocket falling from space, it could be a new virus. I mean, who knows? It could be anything. But that we're constantly bombarded with murder hornets. Murder hornets! I mean, that was my favourite. It was murder hornets. I'm sure they're going to come back at some point. Just the murder hornets. We're constantly bombarded by these fear messages of things that are coming to get us. And, the climate change is the other one. The world's going to end. I mean, I don't know if any of you have seen that movie, An Inconvenient Truth, Al Gore, that guy. A former politician telling us all how it's going to be. Yeah, because politicians never lie. They always tell the truth. So a former politician made a documentary, and to be honest, I watched it. I was the same as probably most, thinking we've got to do something. We had this message. Oh, we're going to get all the rubbish in the oceans. Have you seen how many masks they're pulling out of the oceans? How many of the muzzles they're pulling out of the oceans? But it's worth it. For years we've been screaming about all the rubbish in the oceans, but now there's that on the whole pile of masks. Shh, silence. No one says a word. It's amazing because they're essential. Not like those Coca-Cola bottles. Yeah, not like that. That's bad rubbish. masks are good rubbish. So we should be just dumping the masks into the ocean, because that's good rubbish, and we don't want the fish to get a virus, But what I see is this centralisation of control mechanisms being put onto us, the public, the people that we elect. I mean, do we though? Do we really elect them? London elects, one of the worst mayors in history, with Sadiq Khan. It re-elects one of the worst mayors in history of the world. Do we really elect the people that are our elected leaders? Do we really? So here in this beautiful place where I live, we had two choices on the ballot: Conservative and Labour. They're both as corrupt as shit. I mean, we all know that. One's a socialist party, the other one's just, well, they're both socialists really. It's a centralisation of power. And there's no independents, no one else on the local council elections. Just those two, Labour and Conservative. And we actually had a election pamphlet come through the door for our local Conservative local council person. I think it was a woman, and she was openly saying, "Build back better." The World Economic Forum slogan, "Build back better." Oh yeah, I'm going to vote for you. Yeah, because you're parroting the World Economic Forum. Yes, and they're wonderful. World Economic Forum's got my best interests at heart. Klaus Schwab, yeah, of course, yeah, I'd vote for him. Except he's not an elected leader. He's a non-governmental organisation telling governments of the world how to run the government at a local level. So the reason I bring this up is we're living in these constant Chicken Little moments, constantly kept in fear, constantly about everything. Murder hornets. We're constantly kept in fear. There's always something going to happen. There's always something just around the corner. I'll come back to Al Gore. Let's circle back to Al Gore. Al Gore did a movie, An Inconvenient Truth. I don't know whether you watched it. When I watched it, I was fearful. And that's coming from someone who's been watching all this nonsense for decades. Okay. I didn't want things to happen to the place where I live. I didn't want things to happen to this reality that I have children in. I didn't want my children to grow up in a world where terrible things were going to happen. I wanted to leave behind a better place than what I found it. So of course that kind of information struck me. But all the predictions that this documentary made from obviously eminently qualified people, including a former politician who made millions, by the way, and who owns multiple mansions and a private jet, telling us about climate change. None of those predictions that were made, zero, none of them came true. Not a one. Not one. And here we are, we're still listening to the same nonsense, but from different people. Leonardo Dicaprio, Hollywood actor who flies around the world in private jets, who, after he made his documentary, I can't even remember what that thing was called, he made a documentary about the same subject, and he went and took the proceeds of that and bought a beachside house. Worried about the sea levels rising, of course. Worried about the sea levels rising, and he went and bought a beachfront property. Leonardo DiCaprio, that is. Hollywood star who travels the world in a private jet, lecturing us about climate change. Thanks, Leo. But it's not just one thing, it's everything. It is literally everything, and it's all based on fear messages, and it's all for a reason. Now, if you can keep people fearful, the easiest way to go is to keep people fearful so they'll live under a tyrannical rule. Have a look at the messages I'm on Twitter. I probably shouldn't be because it is toxic. It's a toxic environment, the same as all social media is at the moment. Have a look at the messages on Twitter. The people are so scared that they think we should still be locked down. Oh yes, I know somebody whose auntie's cousin's brother twice removed. A friend of his that lived 2 doors down knows somebody that knows somebody who died. Okay. I personally had people tell me a member of their family, passed. And it's tragic. No one wants to hear that. No one wants to be affected by something that's going around. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible thing when people die. No one wants to experience that. But the reality is that people die every day from multiple things. We all have people in our sphere of influence who have, cancer. All of us, 1 in 2 is the number, is projected to have cancer. 1 in 2. But do we stop the world for that? No. It's amazing to me that we can have a situation like we've had over the last year, where we have instantly, out of nowhere, 3-4 new injections. I won't say the words because I'll be banned instantly in a space of no time at all. But yet, cancer's been around for how long? And we're still treating it with things like, poisoning the body with, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say that word either, because I know that's probably going to get me a community guideline strike. I don't need that. I don't need another one. We're still dealing with things in a manner that's, we'll just kill everything and hope you live. Now, I know that people are going to point to me, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, you know what? I do. I'm not going to go into the whole ins and outs of how I know, but suffice to say that I know how it works, okay? Cancer's been around for, we've been having cancer research for 30 years, and all these wonderful cancer research organisations they're researching cancer, and why haven't we got to a cure? There was people in the 50s were talking about using frequency to destroy cancer cells, while leaving healthy cells alone. But where's that gone? Where's that technology gone? Well, here we are, a little bit of rain from a blue sky. The sky is literally falling. But we're controlled by these constant fear messages. Constant, and these fear messages are being used to guide us in a direction that we won't like. That doesn't benefit anybody, but what it does is it allows people to be fearful and to be corralled into central governance. Now, centralisation of anything is bad. We've had what we've seen over the last year, where supply chains especially, where we have centralisation, where we have core things that are coming from one place, and when that one place breaks down, what do? Decentralisation is the answer. Decentralisation of our supply chain. So we should have, if something's being produced, like certain drugs or things that we require, or that people want, let's put it that way, that they shouldn't all be. Good morning, how are we doing? Good, thanks. That they shouldn't all be produced in one place, because if we have that situation where we have a situation like we had in the last year, that so should the supply chains break down, then that all goes to shit. Now, we're talking about centralisation of banking. Now, what happens when we have centralisation of banking? We have a very small group of people control the flow of money, how money gets produced, how it gets produced, how it gets distributed. And now we're talking about central bank digital currencies, okay? Gov coins, where we have the central bank then has the ability to have direct access, or the government has direct access to you. So commercial banks would go bye-bye, and it would be centrally controlled by central banks, privately owned central banks. Remember that. So, hang on a minute. The wind is howling today. I do apologise if that's coming through the microphone. I'll turn around this way, so hopefully it's not having the same effect. But yeah, we've got these central bank digital currencies. Now, The Economist recently did their cover was about the central bank digital currencies and the positives and the pitfalls that could be associated with that. Now, the centralisation of anything is not good. And it can't be good because, you know, you have a centralisation of government control. You know, it doesn't allow for regional control. And regional control or local control is how things should be, which is why the World Economic Forum is there putting their messages into local governance, because they want to control from a distance how local governance is done, because we can't have local people deciding what's good for local people. That's no good. Now, when it comes to this centralisation, this fear to get us towards centralisation, the sky is falling moments and it's constant. What we should understand as well is that the governments that we think are in control are not. You know, this is being proven by this whole World Economic Forum. Have a look around where you live in the world. You know, if you've got a government body telling you build back better after the lockdowns, where do you think that message is coming from? It's coming from the World Economic Forum, which is Davos. If you don't know what Davos is, go and check it out. Davos is a meeting that the world elites go to every year in Davos in Switzerland. This year I don't think it's in Davos in Switzerland because they want to mix it up, you know, have somewhere else to fly their private jets to. The millionaires and billionaires of the world get together to decide what the future of the world's going to be. You know, it is a centralisation of power in non-governmental organisations. So non-elected people, telling our elected leaders how they should be responding, how they should be doing things. Now, I'm a libertarian. You know, I think that people should decide how they want to live. You know, why not? You know, I have different needs than you do. You know, you know, the people in this area have different needs than the people in the city do. You know, the people in the city tend to forget about areas like this where their food is growing. They think, oh well, fuck the rest of the country. Yeah, the big cities just forget about the farming districts. Oh yeah, bugger them. We don't care about them because all the money is controlled by London. Yeah. It's funny though that when it comes right down to it, all the money in the world, you can't eat it. You can't drink it. Oh yeah, but you can buy things with it. Yeah, that's only because there's still confidence in the currency. Where does that confidence come from? What happens if there's no confidence in the currency? What do you do then? What happens if the valuation of your currency collapses? Because they keep on printing more of it. Take a little moment. I'm propagandizing. I'm scaring you to get you to buy something. No, I'm not. I'm trying to say to you, look, what all these fear messages that we're constantly being bombarded with are there for a reason, to take away your power and give it to somebody else. That's what it is, you know. So we all have to be, you know, like around here, you know, around this area where I live. When all this kicked off last year, they come up with innovative solutions and said, okay, the most vulnerable people, we will open the stores for the most vulnerable for the first 2 hours of the day so that they can do their shopping, and then everyone else can come after. I think that was a brilliant idea. Community guided. You know, what's best for the community, but done on an individual level, so everyone can agree that the community can work in its own way to benefit the community without being centrally controlled by anybody. Same is happening with banking, with money through digital assets, cryptocurrencies. That's really scaring the central planners because they're decentralized. So no one group, no one centrally controlled group, let's put it that way, control a decentralized currency. So what I'm trying to get to out of this whole discussion, this whole talk, is recognize in crypto world, in the digital asset world, the FUD is fear, uncertainty and doubt. And there's constant FUD. The chicken little moments are always going to be there. Some are going to be chicken little moments where the sky is falling and nothing ever happens, but sometimes there's going to be those moments where it's not, and we have to be prepared for that and recognize your vulnerability in those moments where we could have a genuine situation to be looking for. Let's put it that way. What I see at the moment is some what's happening in the background is what I see is a financial reset. I've spoken about this for a while now. Financial reset where our current banking control systems will inevitably change to something different because the weight of the stupid decisions that they've made over a long period of time have to be played out. Is it making sense? These if for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. There's always consequences to every decision that's made, and there's been some very poor decisions made, not just in the last year but for decades, and those decisions will have to be paid for in the near future. So we have a constant, I spoke about this before, we have a constant bombardment of fear messages, a constant bombardment of the sky is falling, literally with the latest thing that's falling out of the sky. We don't know where it's falling. We don't know where it's going to land. We have these messages, and it is to take away your power and give it to somebody else. And I suggest you don't let your power be taken away. Make decisions that are best for you. Think of your family, yourself, your community, and how we can all work together. And not centralized, not in a centralized way where we're giving away our power, our individual power, to a centralized authority. I don't like that word, authoritative figure. People are not an authority over you. You're an authority over yourself. You have to realize who you are and what you are. You are divine spark. You are part of creation. You are an equal, you are equal to everybody else, and everybody's equal to you. You are a creative energy. You're a creative source. You are universal consciousness personified. And taking away that, other people who control the levers of power and information will try and take that away from you. Don't let them. If you recognize who you are and the power that you have over this world, this reality that we live in, then no one can take away that power from you. They can't. So the message for today, I suppose, is recognize your divine light, recognize that you are part of creation, recognize that you are that no one has authority over you, no one has dominion dominion over you. You know what that means. No one has dominion over you. You get to decide what's best for you. You get to decide how you're going to live and what's good for you. Don't let other people make that decision for you based on a fear message that quite often is based in nothing. And recognize the changes, and look at decentralization of power, banking, money, finances. That's where you need to be looking at. I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell you exactly this is the thing, because I don't know. I don't know anybody any better than anybody else does. I'm just a guy. Remember that. I'm just a guy on the internet that's talking, and you've got to make decisions that are best for you based on your situation, and what's going to benefit you, your family, your community. But don't let somebody else make that decision for you, especially not the World Economic Forum. So, on that note, have an awesome day. Get out into places like this. Get out into nature. Get out and enjoy this reality. And don't let the fear Don't let the bastards bring you down, like Brian Blessed says. Don't let the fear messages control what you're doing, because the world is a wonderful place. So get out there, be good, do good, and I shall look forward to seeing you real soon. Take care. Bye.